a snowstorm. Antarctica.
Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
All right, it's time for another brick in the wall, Guns. This is the end of the show, Antarctica theories. You know, a lot of times we're having fun. A lot of times we go a little wild. And not saying we're not going to do that. But there's a very specific setup happening right now. And I'd like to share it with you. We'll start with this interesting engineering article.
Okay.
It's from Interesting Engineering, which we think is always funny because they have so many stories that have nothing to do with engineering. But big news, big news. The headline reads, "We did it. Harmful chemicals in the ozone layer drop by 50%, NOAA says."
We did. What did we do?
We dropped harmful chemicals in the ozone layer, apparently. Now, if anybody remembers, a couple years ago, they actually came out and said, like, yeah, we healed the ozone layer a while back, but apparently we're doing it again. The depletion of the ozone layer had a huge impact on humanity for a while. Moreover, the United Nations accepted the International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer in 1994. Every living thing on Earth is shielded from UV radiation by the stratospheric ozone layer. Thus, the ozone layer is vital for all forms of life, and we need to protect it. Without a doubt. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, that's NOAA, their last report indicates that we're on the right track. As they stated, in the mid-latitude stratosphere, NOAA discovered that global concentrations of the dangerous compounds that destroy the ozone layer have decreased by slightly over 50% to levels seen in the 1980s.
Hey, it's the 80s all over again.
Yeah, we're back in the 80s, baby. The ongoing deterioration, quote, shows the threat to the ozone layer slipping below a crucial milestone in 2022. The area of the ozone hole over the Antarctic is larger than the area of the United States, and it would take tens of millions of tons of ozone to replenish it. Even the cost of shipping this amount of ozone would be astronomical. And this is kind of one of the things, you know, the ozone layer, we all have heard it, and we've all heard like a lot, but ozone is funny because we can actually make it, we can manufacture it and like fix it, but it's just very expensive. Quote,
you mean geoengineering exists? For real? I thought that's all conspiracy nonsense.
Can you even imagine?
Yeah.
Quote, this slow but steady progress over the past 3 decades was achieved by international compliance.
Oh, compliance is what did it. Okay.
With controls on production and trade of ozone-depleting substances in the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer, explained NOAA. Ozone-depleting substances, ODSs, over Antarctica, which sees a significant ozone hole in the spring, have been declining at a slower rate recently. And they kind of mention this, but they don't really explain it. They said, which sees a significant ozone hole in the spring, because the ozone and the hole in the ozone and the ozone layer is not a static object. It moves, it grows, it shrinks. It happens all the time. It's part of the
sounds like
part of the cycle.
It's Biden's inflation has plateaued kind of logic there. You know, it's like it's not getting any worse. So we're steady.
Could be. Well, you know, it's more like, you know, in the summer, we experience global warming because it's the summer.
Well, it depends on
the ozone is very similar. The ozone changes shape and size all the time. But that's not the point. Quote, it's great to see this progress, said Stephen Monska, senior scientist for NOAA's Global Monitoring Laboratory. Quote, at the same time, it's a bit humbling. I'm choking up, Gans. It's humbling to realize that science is still a long way from being able to claim that the issue of ozone depletion is behind us.
Science is truth.
Then it goes into some history. How did it start?
How did it start?
How did it start? How did
in a
the ozone layer start? It tells you. Ozone is a highly reactive molecule. About 90% of Earth's ozone resides in the stratosphere. So ozone is like an actual chemical. Let's see here. Did you have anything highlighted in here?
No, because it was from last episode. It wasn't the main thing you wanted to talk about. The next article was the main
stop.
thing, man.
You don't have to be snarky, okay? I was just giving you a second to talk if you wanted to talk.
No, I have nothing to say about this.
It's a long but promising road. The ozone layer over the Antarctic has not recovered as quickly as it has over the mid-latitudes, dropping by 26% from peak levels in the 1990s for various reasons. For various reasons, Gons. But like mostly because the air in the Antarctic stratosphere is older.
Oh.
The air is older.
It's more mature.
Did you miss this detail that science has taught us? The air is older in the Antarctic stratosphere.
Because it's frozen?
No, it's old.
Oh.
We have new air.
We need to kill off all
fresh
that old air.
Yeah. Baby air.
Yeah, the air sucking up all that the pension funds.
Not that
get rid of
old, stinky, wrinkly air.
Just give him a little COVID.
The Antarctic 2022 index has decreased 26%. Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So there you go. We're doing it, baby. Mission accomplished. The ozone is healing because of compliance. Comply. And this brings us to this article from realwire.com. This is, we've brought realwire.com before. It's kind of a weird sort of press release / native advertising outlet for obscure technology companies. And here's one now. Polar proof of NEXAT's globality. At Ukrainian Antarctic base.
Oh, Ukrainian on this. There's all kinds of different angles to this now. It's all
Polar
different.
proof of NEXAT's globality. Have you ever heard globality before?
Yeah, dude.
There's a new word, baby.
We're going global.
It's like locality, but globality. Globality. Scientists monitoring the ozone hole.
That we just fixed, right? We were just told it was
50%. We're monitoring. We got the ozone, we got the hole, and we got the scientists monitoring the ozone hole.
Okay.
And water ecosystem from a Ukrainian research base in Antarctica will have better access to connectivity options thanks to a cloud-based services platform.
Oh, good. More software.
Oh, boring.
Yeah.
The National Antarctic Scientific Center has connected to
Nancy. NANC. That's the same acronym as the bond that's tracking Nancy Pelosi's portfolio.
That's a good point. Yes. I don't know if that was adequately explained before. There is it's like a Nancy Pelosi index fund kind of called NANC, Nancy. And now apparently Nancy is the name of the Ukrainian Research Center, has connected to NEXAT, a capacity aggregator, and PaaS, that's platform as a service, to monitor the signal levels, real-time traffic, service outages, and network issues of its satellite connectivity. What does that mean? Does anybody care? NEXAT
is spying on Starlink? Is that what it means?
NEXAT is enabling the Nancy, which is based at Vermansk Research Station, located on Galindez Island in the Argentine islands, to do this without the need to install physical teleport. And it goes on and on and on. But there is this part here. It says the organization, part of the Ukrainian government's Ministry of Education and Science, will also have the ability to pay. Ukrainians are going to have the ability to pay for added capacity via direct ticketing and access added value services. Notice how none of these words mean anything if you don't know what NEXAT is. And that's why we're here to bring you the lowdown, because RealWire is not doing a very good job. So what NEXAT is a satellite internet aggregator service. So you have companies like Starlink and SatLink and OneWeb. And, there's a number of these satellite internet companies. And it's a bit problematic because which one do you go with? Who's got the most satellites? Who's in your area? How many satellite dishes do you need?
I was going to say, what if the Starlink isn't over? What if it's in a different spot?
Right,
so we get spotty internet. Yeah.
So Nexsat is a company that aggregates all satellite services. So you can...
I see.
Yeah, so you can pay for one service, that's Nexsat, and then you get access to everybody's satellite. So whoever's near you, whatever gives you the best signal, you have access to it. It's kind of like a...
It's a bundler.
It's a bundler, right. It's kind of like what Apple TV tried to do.
Yeah.
Before they started making their own content, they're like, are you tired of having too many streaming services? Well, get another one, Apple TV, and we can play it from your other accounts. It's just a weird, bad product. And that's what Nexsat does. It's supposed to make it easier to access satellite internet. I want to point out the ozone hole is not mentioned ever again in this 50-paragraph sales pitch for Nexsat. They literally just open up the first sentence. Scientists monitoring the ozone hole are getting better internet. Isn't that wonderful? And it occurred to me, because we've already heard the ozone's been healing. The ozone was healed completely at one point a few years ago. I don't know what happened. Apparently it got unhealed, but look, I'm just going off of current info. We're 50% there. We're monitoring it. And much like a lot of the information about or sourced from or pointed at Antarctica, it is almost entirely being used as marketing material. The ozone layer issue is not talked about in climate change stuff. It's not talked about from the presidential pulpit. It's not talked about at all. It's kind of an old school thing. It comes from the time of global cooling. When global cooling was the problem, we had the ozone layer. Now it's cured. It's getting better. It's whatever. And it's brought up strictly as a marketing tool, a marketing topic to sell satellite internet aggregators, Gons. And this fits in perfectly with our broad overarching tracking of the Antarctica theory, which is Antarctica is not even really a place anymore. It is a product. Antarctica is a product, and everything about Antarctica is a product. And like products, there's the possibility for false advertising, like we've seen with the claims of climate change and melting glaciers. And it was finally, for once, pointed out on the Wall Street Journal and not on a crazy podcast that nobody listens to. And the ozone hole is now on the list. I think we're going to start seeing more about the ozone hole. You see almost nothing about it ever until an article comes out last week, and suddenly it starts coming up as a marketing tool for satellite internet. What is your thoughts on this?
I was just kind of poking around to see if Nexsat and doing a little bit of digging. There is another, I think this is a different company called Nexsat System Tracker. It's the same Nexsat, and they're doing autonomous all-in-one machine that can be used for tillage, planting, spraying, and harvesting on the farm. So it's kind of like a flippy.
Or like a tractor?
A tractor that does it all the farming. So there's like the food side of it. I don't see anything on the Nexsat.b website about it, so it might be different. But I did find this on the actual Nexsat website, and it's a case study. And it says, establishing remote connection for mining facilities in West Africa. We enabled effective communication between remote West African mining facilities and their corporate offices. Which is like, great. Isn't there a lot of corruption in mining in West Africa?
Yeah, also in Ukraine.
Also in Ukraine.
They seem to only be getting business in corrupt governments
Kind of
and
what
industries.
I was thinking. And the marketing is remarkable. The website is fantastic.
And Nexat's interesting because they're an aggregator service. They brag about how they're connecting all the satellites and they're monitoring all the connections.
Yeah,
and I don't know exactly the list of companies that they are aggregating, but it's kind of like it's a Skynet of Skynets.
Right.
They actually describe themselves as a network of networks, which is, if anybody is a blockchain person, there's a couple of those. Yeah.
They're also doing oil and gas mining, which I think is interesting given the situation worldwide with the changing of the supply chain and how energy is consumed.
It's kind of like
dispersed.
Yeah, it's where Elon makes these deals to bring Skynet to like popular places. He does it very Elon Musky, like, I'll pop in, give internet to Ukraine. Boom. It's this is a great marketing move. Yeah. Okay. I'll bring Skynet to Antarctica because everybody cares about Antarctica now. Yeah. He gets the move. So while Elon's off making like these highly popular choices in kind of the like giving the vibe that he's like a good guy trying to save the world with his internet,
E
sounds like Nexat is like the evil like stepbrother or the evil twin going around and providing internet to like the evil villains of the world.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have government approval for this kind of stuff at some level and the infrastructure to do it. On their network page, it says, "We're on a mission to bring satellite connectivity to everyone. We help businesses operate in the most remote regions of the world, powered by our global network." Like, okay, a lot of people have global networks, but it sounds like they're talking about hardware as well as some kind of software.
They do. They have their own hardware that you get.
Their POP.
You know what?
Thing. Yeah.
If they could actually get me some internet out at Burning Man, I might actually consider going with this company.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
They take something away and then they try to play God, give and take away,
So this whole story, I just, it might not be as extravagant as like a Nephilim penguin story or something, but it proves the point that Antarctica is not necessarily a place that anybody wants to care about or does care about. It is a product that can be used to market other products. And we've seen that over and over and over, even at the protest of the scientists who are down there trying to set the record straight.
It is interesting how ever since that article about the scientists who complained, like, hey, stop saying, the Wall Street Journal article saying, like, hey, it's not as, you're taking things out of context. And they flip 180. They're like, hey, we're making progress. We've solved the ozone layer issue. And then now we can Starlink's there. Now we can roll out our Skynet system and everyone can get internet and communicate through us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The battle rages on.
You got to be pro Ukraine or
you're right. Well, and Ukraine's exactly the same. Sorry, I did mean to mention that was part of our conversation. In the same way that supporting Ukraine has become a marketing product.
Yeah.
Antarctica is a marketing product. The ozone hole is a marketing product. War is a marketing product. And that's what we're seeing with this Nexat thing. But I don't know. They don't have any, they don't have a very cool Twitter presence. So good luck, guys.
Well, I'm waiting for the Nephilim penguins to crawl out of their caves from Deception Island down there in Antarctica.
And they come in contact with the Evercube and gain some sort of cybernetic superintelligence.
Yeah, and Nexat will be there to document it all. Their logo, or the way they spell it, is interesting because it's lowercase n, lowercase e, capital X, lowercase a, lowercase t. So it's kind of like the X thing that we've been talking about with the Mark of the Beast for years. They always have to highlight the X. Mm-hmm. We are X. We are here to mark you. So anyway.
Very, very powerful.